This is being recorded.
Hello and welcome. My name is Edna White, and you are on the second day of this amazing 7-day confidence challenge. Now, today is day 2, how to stop people pleasing, banish self-doubt, and pull yourself out of down days and take immediate action. So yeah, that's a mouthful. That's a mouthful of what we're going to talk about today. So if you were on day one, you got a lot of aliveness and motivation. And I gave you 6 habits to create enduring confidence and beat self-doubt. So you're going to get a whole lot of this beating self-doubt and banishing it and beating it up and getting rid of it. You're going to get a lot of that. But I want to talk to you about some of the things that are portrayed or you act out because of self-doubt. And the biggest one I found, the biggest one for me anyway, is people pleasing. All right, so we hear this word all the time, and I think I'm an instructor by heart or a teacher by heart, because I always want to make sure that people understand these phrases that are going around. So you talk about people pleasing, words, and we hear it and we kind of relate some things to it. But people pleasers are known for doing whatever it takes to make another person or other people happy. While being kind and helpful is generally a good thing, going too far to please others can leave you feeling emotionally depleted, stressed, and anxious. So I always say that anything in excess is error. So you have to have, I wouldn't say a balance, because when I think about balance, I think about you're on this tightrope and there's this one way to go. And we don't live on a tightrope. We don't even live on a road that's like made for one. We're just walking. And whether our journey is, taking a left or taking a right, or swervy road or a winding road, whatever it is, it's still a road. So it's not a tightrope. I would say doing just enough, doing the right amount of it. Not a balance, but the right amount. Just like if you love chocolate cake, you wouldn't just eat the entire cake, because that's over an abundance of what you're supposed to have, right? So being a people pleaser is the outcome from being in self-doubt, because you always want to please the other people. You always want to please people. So I'm going to begin like this. What is a people pleaser? A people pleaser is a person who puts others' needs ahead of their own. And I know all those moms out there are going to say, well, children need us. You are so right. But if you make yourself ill and sick, who's going to take care of them? If you don't take care of yourself, who's going to take care of them? That doesn't make any sense. So it's not the right amount of care. If you're overabundant, it's not the right amount. If you're not taking care of yourself and you're running yourself ragged and you look raggedy, you don't want to be that way. The people pleasers are highly attuned to others. And I used to call myself a chameleon because I had very, very low self-esteem, and I doubted everything about myself. And I used to pick up on what made people happy and did it, acted that way, talked that way, asked questions about what they liked, right? That's how a people pleaser is. It's not an empath, because that's totally different. So let's not get that mixed up either. A people pleaser is highly attuned to others and often seen as agreeable, helpful, and kind. But people pleasers can also have trouble advocating for themselves, which can lead to harmful patterns of self-sacrifice or self-neglect. Self-sacrifice, I call it the martyrdom. You do so much and you put yourself in martyrdom. By the time you get home, leave home at 5, get home at 9, and you just got to go to bed because you're so depleted. That's martyrdom. You've lived that way so long, pleasing other people, that you don't please yourself. You don't take care of yourself. If you can ask yourself, when's the last time I went to the doctor and really just sat down with the doctor and talked about anything? When's the last time I've done that? When is the last, or physical? When's the last time I've really taken a physical or really taking time out to make sure I'm good with myself? If you can't answer that question, that means that you're waiting till something starts hurting before you go to the doctors, or something's out of whack before you go to the doctors. You're not taking care of yourself. You're self-sacrificing. You're over in abundance and taking care of something else and somebody else. You're neglecting yourself. People pleasing is associated with the personality trait known as, here we go, I know I'm going to tear this word up, but it's sciotropy. Sciotropy. SOCIOTROPY. So all of you all that can say it really well, I maybe can't, but that's the word. Or feeling overly concerned with pleasing others, earning their approval in a way to maintain relationships. So I know on one of my, I used to have a coworker that would work with someone and start crying because they were crying. And I was like, what's going on? And they would be so absorbed into their situation that they became that person. That's feeling overly concerned, and that's a people pleaser, whether we believe it or not. It's not an empath. An empath can feel your feelings without you being emotional, right? But people pleasers kind of become that person and experience the same emotions they do, and then sometimes can't even bring themselves out. This behavior can be a symptom of mental health conditions. So you can actually do that so much, right? And be in that phase so much that you get these mental health conditions like anxiety, avoidant personality disorders, borderline personality disorders, codependency. All of those things can lead to something. Anxiety, codependency becomes the avoidant personality disorder, then the borderline personality disorder. It turns to all these things when we keep doing the things that don't mean us any good. So people pleasers are these. That's the definition for them. That is the definition for people pleasers. It's not just say, you have a family member and they're always asking you to do something, maybe because you're the only person. And you'll say, no, that's not the same. That's not the same as doing something for someone, even though you don't feel like it. Sometimes it could be your grandkids, could be your kids. You don't feel like doing it sometimes. That's not the same. People pleasing is going above and beyond, feeling above and beyond, taking on things that you shouldn't, squeezing an hour worth of work in 15 minutes, excuse me. So that's what a people pleaser is. Here's the signs that you yourself might be a people pleaser, okay? You have difficulty in saying no. You are preoccupied with what other people might think. You feel guilty when you do tell people no. Or you tell them no and you put a comment and explain why you're not doing such and such and such. You fear that turning people down will make them think you are mean or selfish. You agree to things you don't like or do things you don't want to do. You struggle with feelings of low self-esteem. You want people to like you and feel that doing things for them will earn their approval. You're always telling people you're sorry. And my granddaughter would do that. She's 6. And so I would say, no, you're never sorry. You apologize, but if it's something that you can correct, you'll say, oh, I see, I understand, I got it, but never say I'm sorry. You can apologize, but always saying sorry, everything's your fault. Sorry. Sorry just comes out of your mouth just automatically. Stop telling people you're sorry. You take the blame even when something isn't your fault. You never have any free time because you're always doing things for other people. I've been told by numerous clients, there's not enough time in the day. BS, there is. You just have to prioritize. There is. I don't care if you have 60 kids or 1 kid or no kids or, I don't care. Baloney. That's a big bogus. Stop saying that. There's 20, all of us have 24 hours in a day. Whether we prioritize it or not, that's our fault. Whether we don't have any free time, guess whose fault it is? It's ours. So we have to look within and see that we're people pleasing and we're doing too much of something and we want to do the right amount. You neglect your own needs in order to do things for other people. You pretend to agree with people even though you feel differently. People pleasers. So people pleasers tend to be good at tuning in to what others are feeling. They are generally empathetic, but they're not empaths. So don't get it twisted. They're thoughtful and caring. And these positive qualities may also come with a poor self-image, a need to take control, or a tendency to overachieve. A lot of my clients do the same. They're doing 50 million things to make this look good and people to come towards their business because this looks good. But if you don't, if you're pleasing them, you're not empowering yourself. Excellence does not come with perfection. Just so you know that. Excellence is excellence. And it is imperfect. It's not perfect, and we all have that ability to have excellence. In order to stop being a people pleaser, it's important to understand some of the reasons why you may be engaging in this kind of behavior. There are a number of factors that might play a role, including poor self-esteem. Sometimes we engage in people-pleasing behavior because you don't value your own desires and your needs. And because of lack of self-confidence, people pleasers have a need for external validation, right? And they may feel that they're doing things for others that will lead to approval and acceptance. So you will be part of the gang. No. A cause is poor self-esteem. Insecurity. In other cases, people might try to please others because they worry what other people won't like about them if they don't go above and beyond to make them happy, not to make yourself happy. So they're insecure about it. They have some insecurities about it. Another cause would be perfectionism. And that is like I guess a precursor to procrastination. Perfectionism, sometimes people want everything to be just so, including how other people think and feel. They want everything to be perfect. They want their videos to be perfect. They want their lipstick to be perfect. They want their eyebrows to be perfect. They want their toenails to be perfect. They want everything to be perfect. And it shows. Because guess what? We never see them. We don't know. So perfectionism prevents you from being social, prevents you from doing things that you need to do in excellence that only you can do. Past experiences, painful, difficult, or traumatic experiences may also play a role. People who have experienced abuse, For example, may try to please others and be agreeable as possible in order to avoid triggering or abusive behaviors in others. So, a child who has a dad or a mom who has, a quick temper will keep their voices low, will keep things quiet, will not stir the pot, and be out of sight so that it wouldn't trigger some type of abusive behavior on them. A person might generally want to make sure that other people have the help they need, but in these cases of people pleasers, it goes above and beyond. Best believe they're not going to be happy. People pleasers aren't happy. They're literally unhappy and worried most of the time. People pleasers, it's not always necessarily a bad thing, but being concerned and caring is an important part of maintaining a healthy relationship with anybody, with any of your loved ones. It becomes a problem if you're trying to win approval in order to shore up weak self-esteem, or if you're pursuing the happiness of others at the expense of your own emotional well-being. If someone is treating you bad or that triggers you, but because of the sake you want to keep everybody nice and happy in the family, you go and hang around them and get the brunt of the jokes. You're putting your own emotional well-being at risk. That's a people pleaser. If you're devoting all your time to helping others in order to make them happy and win their approval, you might be experiencing a lot of the consequences that I'm going to tell you about. People pleasers often hide their own needs and preferences. So you're hiding, you're lying, and you're accommodating other people. So how can you be real authentic? If you're not seeing about yourself, you're lying to yourself, number one. Then you're lying to everyone else, number two. Then you're lying to the person you're working that's asked you to do is number three. So how can you be authentic? You're really not living your life authentically. It makes you feel like you don't know yourself at all. So how can you live authentically? You have weak relationships. I know what you're talking about. If you're putting all your efforts to make sure you meet other people's expectations, right? You may find yourself feeling resentful. You're going to resent everybody. Mad at this one, but you're going to keep it low key. I got to keep it low key. While people might appreciate you giving, right? Giving all the time, it begins to take your kindness and attentiveness for granted. They start taking it because guess what you're doing? You're giving it. You are giving it all and they're taking it all, and I would too. What you show somebody, the way you allow somebody to treat you is the way that they're going to treat you. So whatever you accept, they're going to receive. It's going to be like an unending circle. Okay? People may not even realize they're taking advantage of you. They might not even realize it because you keep giving it. All they know is that you're always willing, and all they know is that they don't doubt it, and they will show up and take it when it's needed. What they may not see is how thin you are stretched and how overcommitted you might be. Because you're not saying anything. Again, you're not being authentic. So, how do we even begin to get out of that hole, dig out of that hole? How do we even start to stop it? Because that's not, people pleasing is not a hole, so sorry about that. But how do you even begin to stop it? Just stop it. I always said to all my clients and to my Wounded to Wonderful group, Start saying no with a period. And then if you have to clench down in your mouth and hold your tongue in and clench down and not say anything afterwards, you're going to have to force yourself to say no. There's so many steps that you can take to really do the right amount of desired things that you need to do in your life and keep you happy without sacrificing your own. It's just too easy. Establishing boundaries, know your limits. See, again, not being authentic you don't know what you really want. So you don't know if you know your own boundaries. So you have to get back to knowing yourself, loving yourself. So start by getting an empty notebook and start journaling. What is it that I like? That's the first question. That question is in my book called The Big Ask. What is it that you really want? And it took me a day, seriously, and that's the only thing I had to think about. I forced myself, what is it that I really want? Every time I found myself wandering on a question or anything else, what is it that I really want? I didn't know what I really wanted. Why? Because I never sought out to do anything to even find out, yeah, I like that. No, I like that. Yeah, I like that. So I never sought out to do anything. So the first thing I started doing is I always wanted to ride a horse. So I thought. And I took enough lessons. I said, okay, now I know how to maneuver. I don't like this because it's dirty. I got to clean the horse. I got to clean his feet. Don't like all that. So now I would ride a horse and enjoy it, but I don't like the cleaning of the horse. That's it. So, hey, I learned something I liked. I was being authentic with myself. So what does authenticity have to do with boundaries? Because then once you're asking yourself what you like, you're going to know what your boundaries are, what your limits are, right? So you got to be clear and specific about what you're willing to take on, what you're willing to do, how you're willing to do it. If it seems like somebody's asking too much, they are. Let them know. That's over the limit, and I'm not willing to do it. And you won't be able to help, or you won't be able to do it. That's at work, at home, in your personal life, in your friends, friendships, your relationships. Hey, I'm not able to do that. I'm not going to do that just to please you now. Listen, even relationships, you're going to be tested. As many of my clients, well, not all of them, a few of them have entertained another person in their relationship to keep their husbands happy. And guess what happened? Boom, blow up. That's not a healthy boundary. There are also other ways to create boundaries in your life to help rein in your people-pleasing tendencies, right? To bring them in. So you might only take phone calls at a certain time to set limits on when you're able to talk. So for me, taking phone calls for business, it stops at 5, period, point blank, no matter what I'm doing, stops at 5. And it's definitely not on the weekends. You could just leave a message. No, because I have a family life, and I enjoy my family, and I enjoy visiting with my friends. So no, there's nothing that you can do on a Saturday or Sunday legally anyway. I mean, if you see a house, or if you can make an offer, but how far is that going to go? The owner probably is away for the weekend. So you can get so much done in a certain amount of time with boundaries, but we don't want to because we are pleasing people. I was talking to one of my clients who owns a retail business, and I said to her, I believe you take calls at 3 a.m. And she started laughing. I said, what can you solve for somebody at 3 a.m.? All you're doing is not getting sleep, and you're not being focused. That's silly. That's just really silly. I said, you're a people pleaser. And she's sitting there shocked. I was like, that's what you are. There's no need to go over and above and beyond. You're not going to, if someone wants to buy from you, they're going to buy from you at a decent time. They're just going to buy from you. They like what you do, what you have. They're going to buy from you at 6. If you say 9 to 6, 9 to 6 it is. They'll call it 9 in the morning if they have to, but they wouldn't call it 3 because you have no boundaries. So you've taught them how to treat you. So you have to rein that in. You have to know all those, ensure that you have control over what you can control, which are your boundaries. So start small. That's the second thing. Start small. Don't go off changing your behaviors and your patterns real quick because you throw yourself off. But you have to start working on teaching the people around you to understand your limits. You have to teach them that. So starting yourself in small ways can begin that. It's helpful to start in your small steps and then work yourself up to the bigger issues. Like starting saying, no, I can't do it at this time. And then going up to no and a period, or if someone is trying to ask you to do something, and now that we have text, you could text someone and just say, no, I can't do it. And practice talking to salespeople, ordering in a restaurant, even dealing with coworkers. Practice doing that. You're just saying no, and pay attention how it feels when you do it. And you'll gain greater confidence as you take control back into your life every time you do it. Number 3 is set goals and priorities. 24 hours in a day. Set goals and priorities. 24 hours in a day. Consider where you want to spend your time. Why do you want to help? What goals are you trying to accomplish? Knowing your priorities can keep you determined and focused at one thing at a time and devote that energy to that one thing. Okay? Those are some of the questions that are also in my book called, it's not even a book, it's a guide. And you can write in it. It actually gives you all these questions that will challenge you to challenge yourself, knowing what you need, what you want, where you want to go, why you want to go there, what are you doing it for? And if you're doing a whole lot, you might want to think about that it might be your ego. That's why you're doing a whole lot of this stuff. It's feeding your ego. And you might want to consider that. Consider that being a portion of it too, that it makes my ego feel good, so I want to do a bunch of that. Okay? So if you're doing a bunch of something, and there's always a bunch of something, and you're so busy, and you're always doing a bunch of something, and you're always doing something, all over, consider it's your ego, and get that in check too as well. Try some questions on, for yourself. Ask yourself questions. Stall for time. Ask for a favor. Tell them you need some time to think about it. That's what I do. Saying yes, stuff. Think about it like this. Remember when the Kirby's came out? Vacuum cleaners. And the guy would walk in the door with this great Kirby and have all this stuff. And you'd be like, oh, this is really, really nice. And little did you know the thing, once you bought it, because you said yes right away, once you bought it, the thing was heavy. You had to get these bags. It was just cumbersome on the floor. Saying yes gets you stuck with so much more. Okay? So right away, saying that will obligate you and overcommit you. Say you have to think about it. Every time someone asks me something, let me check my calendar. Let me see what I'm doing. Let me see what my plans are. Can't answer just yet. Take your time in responding to a request and give yourself time to evaluate and decide if it's something you really want to do, right? Ask yourself before you do it, how much time is it going to take? Is this something that I really want to do? Do I have time to do it? How stressed am I going to be when I say this? Because I usually ask myself, am I going to get stressed out? I ask them, is what you're asking me going to stress me out? Okay. And then if they say it's a lot of work, no. Because if I don't want to get stressed out, no more do I want that in my life. I don't want to be stressed out. Because that adds more stuff. Overcommitment, it gives more stuff. The next one is excessive request. Another step for overcoming being a people trying to take advantage of your generosity. And assessing the request has to do with your intuition. When you're in tune with yourself, you know when someone's trying to take advantage of you. When you're in tune with yourself and you know what you want and you're confident in yourself, you know when people are trying to take advantage of you, no matter who it is, inadvertently or advertently, if there's such a word. So people have always, sometimes they want to get you suddenly doing something for them so they don't have to do it or ask you for a favor. But when do you ever get those return in favors? That's what you got to evaluate as well. And then others, hey, they may, be aware of your generous nature. I had someone give me a call the other day and say, oh, I saw that you have these many followers and you do this and you do that. And I said, oh, yeah. And I'm listening and I was like, oh, well, what do you do? Well, I'm just starting out. I said, oh, so you want to use my following to help you. What am I getting in return? What are we both getting out of this situation that we both are going to grow? So that's someone, when you know the questions to ask because you know yourself and you're into intuition, you know the questions to ask. You know how to weed those things out, and you need to say no. Some opportunities are not for you. No. Just no. Don't have to explain it, just no. Okay? You don't have to be manipulated into doing things. Take some time to assess the situation and decide how you want to handle the request. For repeat offenders or the people who keep insisting that you should help, be firm and clear, point blank. Okay? Avoid making excuses. It's important to be direct when you say no. And avoid blaming other obligations or making excuses for your inability to participate. Listen, I can't do it. No. That's why I say no with a period. And once you start explaining, guess what happens? You put a comma and then they have more opportunity to kind of come in there and crumble it. And guess what you're going to say? Yes. You poke holes in your excuses and you end up saying yes. Don't give them the chance to adjust your request, okay? Ensure that you can still do what they ask if you can do it, but don't let them poke holes in it. And try using a decisive tone when you decline something and resist the urge to add unnecessary details like reasoning. Remind yourself, no is a complete sentence. I love that phrase. I use it all the time. Okay? Questions when you come into my coaching program is, what does other people say about you? What do your family say about you? When you walk into a room, how do they describe you? And you say, well, Edna, that sounds like you're just telling us we're people pleasers. No, you're getting an evaluation how you come across other people. So guess why? Because your judgment, your facial expressions may not be all that. I know that my grandson said that to me the other day, and I was like, why are you looking at me like that? He said, oh, that's my resting face. I said, no. I've never seen a baby have a resting face. They don't know what smiles are or anything like that. I said, I've never seen him resting. I said, that's a face you made because you're thinking. I said, but people genuinely have a smile on their face. Babies have smiles on their faces. They don't even know what emotions are. So take that out of your vocabulary. Your face is supposed to be the expression of what you feel inside. I don't care if it's resting or not. People can tell what I'm thinking. They can tell. They're like, oh, what are you thinking about? Because your face is not smiling. Usually they can just tell. So getting a judgment from someone else on the outside can actually do wonders for you to view a wide view of who you are and how you convey your energy to other people, how you interact with other people, how they interpret how you work with them or are around them. You know, do they value your perspective? Could you ask them, where do you see that I can improve? Could you ask them, you know, I value your perspective. Where do you see that I can improve? Yeah, I know you're not going to do this part because it's tough. But if you really want to get rid of self-doubt, you need to not just hear it from you, others. Okay? Number 5, develop a sense of belonging. I'm good with myself. I can be alone with myself. I can be by myself, and I love solitude, but I love building social connections every opportunity. I love the effort that it takes to strengthen a relationship with others. It takes a lot of self-trust to be able to create that effort, to see those opportunities. Develop a sense of belonging. You belong. You belong. You don't have to have a space. You don't have to or be in a club. You belong. You know, get your head out of the sand, right? And hold your head up. You belong. There's no need to compare yourself to anyone else because it's not going to happen. Okay? Never. Just know that you belong. 6, collect your achievements. I said this the other day. I have a ritual every year, look at my resume and celebrate some things that I didn't realize the year before, you know, or the year, you know, before that. But collect your achievements. Look at them. Write them down. You know, like I have my awards that I've gotten over the years on the wall to make me realize that I belong, I am genuine, I am the person. I praise myself. I'm my best own cheerleader. Write down your achievements, even if it's small ones. Quit not drinking coffee. Stop drinking coffee. Stop smoking cigarettes. Those are achievements. Okay, write it down. Keep a list of it. Keep it in your pocket. Whatever you have to do to keep assuring yourself of how good you are, that you belong, right? So that the culprit, that inner culprit, that voice that want to self-talk and talk nasty to you and unnecessarily will die down. And then you will fill it with positive words, positive things to say in your life. And so that all those great words you hear will always follow of empoweredness, empowerment, okay? So I hope today that I've given you something really helpful for you to kind of get into moving forward, on the second day, to really get rid of the people pleasing, stop it and banish it, banish self-doubt, pull yourself out of the down days and take immediate action. If you have any questions under this video, please put your comments and your questions, your feedback, so that I can hear from you and be able to answer you and we can have dialogue and communication. As always, I'm available to you at 30 minutes free. If you just click the calendar or you want to have the 30-minute chat with me for free, I'm available, and I'm also available as a life coach. I have many packages available for you, that are affordable, for those who want to invest in themselves and get moving either in their lives, in relationships, or in their business. This is Edna White, and I am signing off. This is our second day of the 7-day challenge, confidence challenge.